My name is Valter Balegas, and I'm co-founder at Vaxine. I'm from Lisbon, and my hobbies are spending some time in the kitchen, learning new cuisines, and also taking hikes around the area and going to the beach, which is pretty great where I live. My experience with people from Vaxine team goes back to my early steps in research. So I met Nuno in university and eventually became my advisor. So I did a master thesis with him, and then I enrolled in a PhD program. And at the early phase, there was already some CRDT projects. And that's when I traveled to France for an internship with Mark Shapiro. And there I also met Annette Pianusa, and our collaboration has been ongoing ever since. My previous research on invariant preservation on top of eventual consistency dates back to my dissertation topic. We first tried to address this issue by designing new CRDT data types that were able to preserve some forms of invariance. And later we tried to generalize this approach to be able to prevent any kind of invariant violation that came from concurrency conflicts. And we did a methodology that would combine static analysis and CRDT designs to prevent these invariant violations. My previous research is related with Vaxine because we're also trying to create a programming model that is easier for developers to express applications on top of eventual consistency. But the difference now is that we already know how to do this, but the challenge is now how to make this technology usable and useful for developers. And you need to find ways to integrate this type of analysis in tools that developers already use so that they can use it naturally and don't have to specify an application using a different language that they don't understand, which may end up being more difficult than writing the code of the application itself. At Vaxine, I'm co-founder. So as a co-founder, I have to do a bit of everything. So right now we are in a very exploratory phase. And so we are trying to finding value propositions and identifying potential customers and how to turn our story to reach customers. And there's also a lot of planning and work towards creating the company itself and how we are going to manage engineers and so on. So I just need to do anything that appears every day. Rich CRDT is just like a CRDT in theory, but the difference is that we're using this class to identify CRDTs that also can provide some benefit for application developers. In a rich CRDT for a text editor, you might need to handle paragraphs, copy paste, and all these things. And just doing a sequence CRDT will not provide a necessarily good experience for this kind of interaction. So rich CRDT is augmented with more features and more complex convergence rules that handle specific business constraints so that developers can take these rich CRDTs and incorporate immediately in their application, and they don't need to think of all the complexity to design the CRDT or adapt to their application. A rich CRDT is a name that we are giving to a new class of CRDTs that we are developing that, besides ensuring convergence and being mathematically proven, they also give you extra guarantees about the kinds of invariants and constraints that you need to ensure at applications. So you can think of a bounded counter or even a CRDT for doing a collaborative application where you need to have specific logic to handle the business constraints. Vaxine is developing a low latency database with consistency. Many databases claim to do that, and they have their own recipes for achieving that. Our recipe is to use CRDTs and transactional causal plus consistency to ensure invariant preservation on top of eventual consistency. Vaxine is being developed for everyone that wants to have low latency in their databases. But I think we are particularly strong in two particular contexts. One is developing of multiplayer collaborative applications, which is a trend that is growing, and we see more and more startups acting in this field. And the other is providing a data plane for edge platforms. So databases are moving to the edge, and application servers can easily be deployed in many regions, but it's more difficult to bring the database to the edge, because since other systems typically use consensus in the write path, they need to communicate with a large number of replicas if the number of edge servers increases. Our solution does not require coordination across regions to execute operations, and therefore our latencies in the write path are very low and comparable to the cost of reads. The developer experience we are aiming for Vaxine is that we are able either to accommodate developers that are not so experienced with distributed systems and just want to have CRDTs out of the box to solve their specific problems in applications, but also we want to be able to allow more experienced developers to fine-tune their system and pick the right CRD implementations at each particular situation so that they can extract better performance in their applications, and also to provide a more fine-tuned semantics for when conflicts arise and need to provide a solution for that. My interest in computers started with video games. I like video games a lot, and as I started growing, I started to get more interested into programming, and then eventually I joined university, and things went so well that I didn't want to leave university without taking a PhD first. The game I have in my computer right now is Final Fantasy. I don't have time to play games now.